What's up, guys? Today we're talking about game rage and how to avoid it. This has been a highly requested video for a while, and it's one I think I'm particularly qualified to talk about. This is actually something I had a big problem with a few years ago. Particularly when I laddered to hit rank 1 for a forum post, I would become extremely stressed, angry, and get into a lot of arguments. Since then, though, I've reevaluated what competitive Pokemon means to me, and now I've managed to stay calm for years. So, how did I go from having flaming arguments to where I am now? It's all about having a healthier relationship with the game, and I'm going to guide you through how to improve your relationship with whatever game you're playing. I'm going to be talking from the lens of competitive Pokemon, but the things I discuss will apply to many video games and life in general. Let's get right into it. The first thing you need to do is accept that you care about competitive Pokemon. People will often say, it's just a game. Even people that get mad about Pokemon themselves will say, it's just a game. While this may be factually true, it's not a productive way of thinking. It's just a game, but it's also a hobby. It's something you care about, it's something you put time into, and maybe something you take pride in. The truth is, hobbies anger people all the time. Anything you care about has the capacity to upset you. If you play a sport, you might get upset if you perform poorly during a match. If you collect marbles, you might get upset if you lose one of them. If you make bird feeders, you might get upset if you accidentally break one of them. Similarly, if you play competitive Pokemon, you may get upset when you perform poorly or feel like you've experienced bad luck. Acknowledging that you care and that your feelings, whether it's rage or sadness or anything else, are not entirely unreasonable is an important first step in improving your relationship with the game. If you pretend like you don't care and tell yourself that it's just a game, it's going to be difficult to improve your mindset. So we've established that you care, but why does this lead to so much anger? Toxicity can get you banned or muted in most communities, which certainly isn't the outcome you desire. More importantly, getting angry only makes your day worse and other people's days worse as well. Furthermore, unless you're Pokeaim or Smalland watching this video, Pokemon isn't your livelihood, so why does it sometimes feel like the most enraging thing in the world? It's because the game is more than a game to you, and the loss is more than just a loss. Let me explain what I mean by that. The source of all rage boils down to one question. Why are you playing this game? Be honest with yourself here. Your immediate response may be for fun or to train my brain. If you look deeper though, you may find some reasons that aren't as positive. You may be playing because you're bored, as a distraction from something else, to make yourself feel better, or most dangerously of all, because winning makes you feel better about yourself. Tying your self-worth to something like competitive Pokemon is a terrible idea, and I personally believe it is the #1 cause of game rage. This was certainly the case with me. I had a lot of doubts about myself and my future, but I had this game, something I was good at, something I understood. Without even realizing it, I took in competitive Pokemon as a means to shore up my concerns about myself and other areas. If you do something like this, losing a game is more than just losing a game. It becomes an attack on yourself, who you are, and how much you value yourself. This is obviously much more enraging than just losing a game. It may sound obvious not to base your self-worth on competitive Pokemon, but it's a surprisingly easy trap to fall into. Humans are naturally looking for ways to measure themselves and compare themselves with others. A game like competitive Pokemon, and many competitive games, with such easily defined scores, win percentages, and other stats, makes it very easy to subconsciously put more emphasis on the game than it really deserves. The solution to this is removing the importance of competitive Pokemon. Try to become detached from the outcome of games. What I mean by this is to acknowledge that the outcome of the game is not important, and the real value comes from the experience. If you struggle with game rage, I can assure you, detaching is going to make the game much more enjoyable for you. Being detached doesn't necessarily mean you care less either. You can still put a lot of effort into competitive Pokemon and still try to grow and improve your skills. All being detached means is that you aren't fixated on a particular outcome. Whether that outcome is reaching a certain ELO rating, or getting to a certain round in a tournament, if it's outside of your control, it's not a good thing to be fixated on. Some of you may ask, well, how should I be evaluating myself? What should I put emphasis and importance on? If you've tied your self-worth to competitive Pokemon, you may be inclined to shift that self-evaluation onto something else similar. It may be grades at school or university, your salary at work, or how much money you have saved in your bank account. These may be important things, but they're not good things to tie your self-worth to. This goes a bit beyond the scope of Game Rage, but I would personally recommend tying your self-worth to how well you adhere to your values. For example, suppose spending time with family is very important to you. If you notice yourself not making time for your family, you might start to feel worse about yourself. This bad feeling will, hopefully, cause you to spend more time with your family in order to restore your self-image. Let's compare this with someone who has tied their self-worth to competitive Pokemon. Suppose you tilt on ladder. This will lead to you feeling worse about yourself. How do you restore that self-image? Well, you need to win. Unlike choosing to spend time with family, winning is not something you can just choose to do. It's outside of your control. So you play more and more, and since you're on a tilt, you probably lose more and spiral into unhappiness. See how one of these methods of self-evaluation encourages healthy behavior and the other leads to unhappiness that is largely out of your control? Another great practice to avoid game rage and make sure you don't slip back into an unhealthy relationship with the game you're playing is to ask yourself, before every time you play, why am I playing? If the answer is truly to have fun, go for it. If it's anything else, don't. If you're feeling down, there are much more effective ways to make yourself feel better than playing competitive Pokemon. Go for a walk, exercise, spend some time with friends. Unlike competitive Pokemon, these activities are shown to improve one's mental state. You should sit down for every gaming session confident that you will have fun whether you win or lose. And if you're not confident, then don't play. Of course, this won't eliminate every last bit of anger you feel, and that's just life. However healthy your relationship with the game, it's still going to bother you sometimes. Nobody likes to lose. Nobody likes getting frozen by an ice beam, missing a Draco Meteor, getting hit with a critical hit, or running into a terrible matchup on ladder or in a tournament. You're still going to slam your fist on the desk and say, "Son of a Bisharp," sometimes. Still, by removing the importance from competitive Pokemon and detaching yourself from the outcome of games, you can become a much happier player and a better member of the community. Thanks for listening, and I hope you guys have a great day.